All right, everybody, good afternoon. It's 12:05, so we're going to get started. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Sarah King, and I have Tina Day, Madison Viola, Sarah Makis, and Tim Watkins joining me behind the scenes. We are with the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority, and we are so happy to have you here for our June webinar for the I-10 Express Lanes project. A couple of items before we get started that we'd like to explain. Today, we will be highlighting construction milestones. Our webinar will be recorded and posted on our website, gosbcta.com/I-10 corridor for those who couldn't join us live today. And as part of the webinar feature, your microphone is automatically muted and your cameras are automatically turned off. We will be using the Q&A function to answer your questions. Our team will provide written response in real time, and at the conclusion of the presentation, we will highlight and respond to key themes and topics from those questions. We will be launching a few polls throughout the presentation, and it's just an interactive way for us to learn more about you and gauge your awareness levels on some of the topics that we'll be discussing today. And finally, this is an informational meeting to educate you about this project. We believe all positions, positive or negative, related to SBCTA activities should have a voice in the process. However, we expect that this will be done in a respectful manner. SBCTA reserves the right to monitor, filter, and remove content or participants that our team deems inappropriate. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with the Zoom platform, the Q&A box can be found at the bottom of your screen. Simply click on where it says Q&A and a pop-up will appear on your screen where you can type in your questions. Again, we will respond to these questions using this feature and address any overall topics and themes at the end of our presentation. You may still see the chat feature at the bottom of the screen. However, chats will only be directed to panelists and utilized to receive more information for questions that may require additional research. If you are joining us from a landline and using the call-in option, please email your questions to info@gosbcta.com. So with that, we will get started. The SB Express Lanes in San Bernardino County will provide approximately 10 miles of express lanes along I-10 in each direction from the LA-San Bernardino County line to the I-15 interchange. This is the green highlighted portion on the left side of the map. And actually, we're going to launch our first poll question. Madison, if you can launch that for us. We'd like to know, those of you who are joining our webinar today, if you live in one of the corridor cities along phase 1 of the I-10 Express Lanes project. The project includes 2 tolled express lanes in each direction in the median of the freeway, and anyone can choose to use them for a fee once they open in 2023. Construction broke ground in spring of 2020, and the project will keep the current configuration with no changes to the 4 general purpose lanes or the auxiliary lane to assist drivers with merging on and off the freeway between ramps. But we are adding 2 tolled express lanes in each direction and a shoulder where the 1 HOV lane currently is today. Construction is anticipated to be completed in 2023. Madison, can we take a look at our poll results? Oh, wow. Okay, so we've got 67% of you are indicating you're a commuter, a few of you from Montclair, Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga. So we've been hosting these webinars since the start of the year. And we're glad to see some local folks, but more importantly, because this is a regional project, it's nice to see that there are others outside of the immediate project area. So thank you again for joining us today. So express lanes are not new to Southern California. However, the I-10 express lanes will be the first express lanes in San Bernardino County. There are express lanes in our neighboring counties, such as the 91 in Orange and Riverside, the I-15 express lanes that just opened in Riverside County. There's the 10 and the 110 express lanes up in Los Angeles, the toll roads of Orange County, as well as express lanes even further south in San Diego County. So Madison, can we launch our next poll question? Which express lanes have you used in Southern California? So now what's all the hype about express lanes? Well, they offer a choice to drivers and they relieve congestion and provide trip reliability throughout the corridor. And they benefit all drivers because those who choose to pay to use the express lanes also end up freeing up space in the general purpose lanes. Madison, if we can give it a couple more seconds and then let's take a look at our poll results. Okay, so most of you have used the 91 express lanes. And then there are the toll roads of Orange County. All right, thanks for responding to that poll. So for those of you who selected that you've used the 91 or the toll roads, you likely have a fast track account with one of those agencies, or at least I hope so, because if you don't, then you might be receiving a notice of toll evasion. But because you have a fast track account with one of those agencies, then you'd be all set to travel on the SB Express lanes when they open, since fast track is used to collect tolls on every tolled bridge, lane, and road in the state of California. It's interoperable throughout all of the toll facilities within the state. So a pre-established fast track account will be required to pay for tolls and to receive the lowest toll price on the SB Express lanes. Now, if you don't have a fast track account and maybe you're just visiting someone in San Bernardino County or traveling through on the I-10, but bottom line, you'd likely be an infrequent user or driver of these express lanes, then you will be able to pay for tolls online within 5 days after your trip using what we call a pay online feature and just simply inputting your license plate. So that's a really unique feature that is not used currently on any express lane in Southern California, but will be an enhancement for those infrequent users for the SB Express lanes in San Bernardino County. Madison, can we launch our next poll? We're asking, how many passengers do you typically travel with? So if you'd like to be eligible for toll discounts and pay the lowest toll amount while using the I-10 express lanes, you will need a fast track account and specifically a switchable transponder to be able to declare or identify how many passengers are traveling with you. If you have 3 or more people in your vehicle, or if you drive a clean air vehicle or ride a motorcycle, you will be able to use the express lanes at no or low cost. Others may choose to pay a toll and use express lanes as an alternative to the general purpose lanes. Madison, let's take a quick look at our results. Right, 86% of you, which is what I figured, are indicated you're a solo driver. That's like me during the weekdays. And then a few of you have selected that you travel with 3 or more people. So for those who are solo drivers, these express lanes will give you simply the choice to be able to speed up your commute for a toll. And if you are a carpooler, then you will be able to use these lanes at low or no cost. And just a reminder, those who choose to pay a toll also improve traffic for everyone by freeing up space in the regular lanes. So let's dive into the focus of today's webinar, the construction milestones. Construction occurs during daytime and nighttime hours and involves work in the lanes, on and off ramps, along the shoulder to the freeway, and even our local streets and roads. There are 18 bridges within the corridor that are either being replaced, widened, or improved to accommodate for the widening of the freeway to add the express lanes. Retaining walls and sound walls are coming down and going right back up. Crews are rehabilitating the main line, and lots of utilities are being relocated. Lanes are also being shifted or narrowed, and if you travel within this area, which many of you indicated you are commuters, so hopefully you're traveling along this I-10 freeway area, then you may see lots of different types of construction equipment and vehicles entering and exiting the freeway as part of this project. But let's just take a little closer look. So this slide captures just a few seconds of our groundbreaking video, which can be found online at gosbcta.com/I-10 corridor. And it provides a bird's eye view of the project corridor. I'm going to hit play here. So with more than 230,000 commuters traveling the I-10 corridor every single day, the SB Express lanes will offer local and regional drivers connectivity throughout the Southern California Express Lane system. So what this video, I'm just going to play it one more time, actually, while I keep speaking. What you'll see here is the area of where interchanges will be improved, the different bridges that we're working on. And so increased mobility is needed not only to improve access throughout our local cities and communities here, but certainly throughout the region. And this project is able to bring us one step closer to that. The project will also address the most significant mainline bottlenecks for people and goods in San Bernardino County and improve speed and reliability for all of our drivers. So we are currently working on a handful of bridges that are listed here. Some of these are being reconstructed in one stage, which means that they are completely closed off to traffic and demolished and then rebuilt in that one stage, whereas others might be reconstructed in 2 stages. And that basically means that crews are working on one half of the bridge at a time. And that's really to be able to provide continuous access for residents, businesses, and commuters. The photo shown here on the left is of Campus Avenue. And this summer, Campus Avenue over I-10 will be closed to prepare for demolition. So once that original bridge is demolished, crews will rebuild the bridge in one stage and essentially making it longer to accommodate for the widening of the freeway. So I'm going to use my mouse to hover over here. So here we have the I-10 freeway underneath Campus Bridge. And so when we say widening, we need to push out these abutments on either side of the bridge, really making the bridge longer to accommodate for the additional room of the lanes below. Now, similar to Campus Avenue is the 6th Street Bridge, which just closed yesterday, June 28th, and crews closed access over 6th Street Bridge to all vehicle, pedestrian, and bicycle traffic to allow crews to prepare for demolition. Demolition is anticipated to occur in mid-July, and utility relocation is currently underway between Campus Avenue and Holmes Court during daytime and nighttime hours. Now, crews continue to build the new Sultana Avenue Bridge over I-10, and we are just weeks away, actually, from welcoming back motorists and pedestrians across the newly constructed bridge. This is an exciting milestone because this was the first bridge to come down as part of this project back in 2020. And it's an opportunity for us to be able to reconnect residents and businesses and provide that access to key destinations and local schools within the area. The new bridge will be the same configuration as the previous bridge, one lane in each direction, with pedestrian walkways on both sides. So right here, you can see our crews parked on top of the new deck or the surface of the new bridge. And the dirt that that you see in the photo behind the chain link fence here, that's where the approaches will go to be able to connect the new bridge to the Sultana Avenue roadway, which is where this photo was taken from. And then on the right photo, you see just the inside makings of an outside barrier and a pedestrian sidewalk. So it's really coming together, and we're just a couple weeks away from being able to welcome back the community over this new bridge. So now I think I'd be remiss if I don't mention this on this slide anyway. As many of you know, construction is dynamic, and it's has many variables that impact the delivery of a project, especially one that's as large as this project. So these can include weather delays, equipment impacts, scheduling conflicts, environmental delays, and then this year, especially as we all experienced the global pandemic. So we were supposed to open this a little bit earlier than anticipated. As I shared, we're just a couple weeks away, but we appreciate the local community's patience throughout construction and any of the unforeseen scheduled delays as part of Sultana Avenue. Now, crews continue to relocate underground utilities at 4th Street and are building a new wider section of the eastbound side of the freeway. Work on 4th Street began in spring of last year and will last for approximately 2 years. For those who live in this area, 4th Street between El Dorado Avenue and Vineyard Avenue is reduced to one lane during daytime hours, and 4th Street under I-10 will be intermittently closed during nighttime hours. Detour routes are posted, and daytime and nighttime activities include forming portions of the bridge and utility installation. Utility installation is some of the activity that you see here in this left photo. And on the right, you see crews. Well, I guess we don't see any crews currently in that photo, but we see the construction progress of a retaining wall on the eastbound side of the on and off ramps for the I-10. Now, crews continue to relocate underground utilities at Monte Vista Avenue and are building a new wider section of the eastbound side of the freeway. Work on Monte Vista Avenue began in spring of 2020 and will last for approximately 3 years. Monte Vista Avenue under I-10 is reduced to one lane in each direction during daytime hours and will be intermittently closed during nighttime hours. Girder installation took place at Monte Vista, and that's the photo that you see here. And if you had an opportunity to join us at a previous webinar where we discussed some of the technical language that we use for construction projects and the types of closures that we cover as part of this project. Anyway, we discussed girders. And so girder is a steel beam that you see here in this photo, and that essentially connects the abutments to the bents to form a bridge. And the abutments, as I shared on the last couple of slides, are the outside supports of the bridge, and the bents are the columns in the middle of the freeway holding up the bridge. So together with the girders, that's what actually supports the weight of the bridge for us to be able to travel over it. Now, in late July, girders will be installed at the Mountain Avenue Bridge. Last year, crews removed a portion of the eastbound I-10 shoulder over at Mountain Avenue. And so as part of girder installation, if you happen to live near Mountain Avenue or work near there and travel in that area, please be on the lookout in our construction alerts because there are some closures that will be anticipated for the girder installation. Now, because we're widening the footprint of the freeway, our crews also need to take down and rebuild all the retaining walls and the sound walls that are between the neighborhoods and the freeway. As part of this work, they're also relocating utilities and removing trees on several local streets adjacent to the I-10. This photo, you see crews here working with rebar, putting together a retaining wall. And so as part of that activity, we have daytime and nighttime closures that are typically scheduled during the weekdays only. So while your commute on the I-10 may look a little bit different, local residents may also see that there are lanes on their local streets and roads that are also closed. And that's honestly, as part of this activity, just the coordination that takes place both on the freeway and our local streets. We're currently working on 23 retaining walls that are under construction as part of this project. Now, there are about 40 on and off ramps throughout the project corridor. As I shared, it's a 10-mile stretch of the I-10. And as such, several multi-day ramp closures are scheduled to realign and repave the ramps to match the newly widened freeway configuration. So here's just a snapshot of some of the different on and off ramps that are being worked on. We understand that it's, lane closures, in addition to your local ramp closure, might be an inconvenience. But they are necessary for our crews to be able to place K-rail, which is what you see here on the very left side, set up the traffic control, and then really get in their crews and the equipment in there to be able to repave and realign that ramp. So it is necessary work as part of this project. On Thursday, July 1st, just in a couple days, we will be opening the Haven Avenue westbound loop on-ramp after having it been closed for 10 days. So there are several more multi-day closures that are planned over the next 2 years as part of this project. So please be on the lookout in our construction alerts for those notifications. Now, 55-hour closures, which are part of our pavement rehabilitation effort, are closures that typically take place on a Friday night, between a Friday night and a Monday morning, and they're planned throughout the duration of this project. So now, while not necessarily a full freeway closure, I don't want to scare anybody, the 55-hour closures are specific lane closures. So the freeway will still remain open and provide access, but we do always recommend that you find alternate routes during this time so that you don't get caught up in a detour or maybe additional congestion that is part of this closure. But they still impact your commute. So again, they are unfortunately necessary as part of the project, but we always ask that you plan ahead. So far, we've completed 5 55-hour lane closures, and it's really necessary to repave the old pavement just to be able to make a better drive for you and your commute. And a portion of that closure also includes the cure time of the concrete to be able to harden or dry before welcoming back vehicles to travel over that new surface. So there will be several more 55-hour lane closures planned as part of the project, but again, we will always include that information as far in advance as possible in our construction alerts for your advanced notification. Right, so we're in the home stretch of our webinar. The next couple of slides focus on our community outreach and the tools that are available to help you navigate our project. Our team and our project can be found in a variety of ways, and we are available to you every single day of the week. We're actually going to launch our next poll, Madison, if you can launch that for us. We're asking everyone on our webinar today, how do you receive our project information? Or this question, is also multiple choice. So hopefully you're receiving the information in more ways than one, but more importantly, receiving it on a platform that works the best for you. Our information across the platforms is consistent. If there's a closure, we want you to be prepared. If there's major activity near where you live, we want you to be informed. And so we offer the information in a variety of ways to ensure that you select a platform that works best for you. We have a robust website, gosbcta.com/I-10 corridor, where you can sign up to receive our weekly construction alerts. We offer a text alert program. Simply text I-10 express lanes to 888-525-1021. And we're super active on social media and encourage you to follow us at GoSBCTA on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And it's just an opportunity to see some bonus footage of behind the scenes construction activities like what we've seen here today. And we'd love to connect with you on social media. So before we move on, Madison, can we take a look at our poll results? All right, 44% indicate you're receiving our information via our weekly construction alert, and then a sprinkling of the rest: project website, community notices, text alerts, and then good old fashioned radio newspaper ads, right? Thanks, Madison. So since everyone has selected all of the items that were available on that last poll question, this information should be pretty familiar to you. The far left, these are just samples of our outreach materials. The far left is a community notice that we canvassed door to door to the local vicinity of one of the major activities. In this case, it was the Mountain Avenue partial bridge demolition. The middle is a sample of our construction alert, which most of you all indicated that you are familiar with, so that should look very familiar to you. And then on the very right is what we call our city sheets. These can be found and accessed from our weekly construction alerts. You simply click on one of the green buttons, Montclair, Ontario, or Upland, and it will bring up a pop-up that's all of the construction activities specific to that city. So now I know the world is slowly reopening. However, if you're like me, that's just running around my local town to my kid's school or my local Target, this is the type of information that would be really helpful to you, because Again, it's all of the information as it relates to the I-10 Express Lanes project, closures, detours, major activities, but specific, hyper tailored to the cities of Montclair, Ontario, and Upland. And then our next slide indicates or shows our Google Maps. So as we talked about, there's a lot of different activities that are going on as part of this project, which then requires a variety of closures, daytime closures, nighttime closures, multi-day closures. And so all of that information, while it can be found in our construction alerts, and we do our best to plan ahead and work with our contractors, the most real-time, up-to-date information can be found by accessing our Google Map, which can be bookmarked or downloaded from your computer or your mobile phone, and it can be found from our website, gosbcta.com/I-10 corridor. And when you click on one of the individual icons, additional information will appear, identifying the specific closure and those times, and then even a recommended detour route. So if you haven't had a chance to check out our Google Map, I encourage you to do so. Now, I think I shared in another slide, we've been hosting these webinars since the start of the year, and we've loved having a virtual platform during the pandemic to still provide you information and answer your questions, but our team is available to you. There are a variety of ways to reach us via social media, our email, we have a project hotline, but we will be taking a short break from our webinars during the summer months, and we will be back in the fall. But in the meantime, again, as I shared, the world is reopening. We're looking forward to being out in your community. We'll have booths at your summer concert series, National Nights Out, farmers markets. And so we're super excited to be able to reconnect with the community in person. And if you happen to see our booth, please stop by, say hello. We would love to get to know you and meet you in person. And that brings us to our final slide, which is our CHP Safety Reminder. I think actually we might even have one of our CHP officers registered on today's webinar. So hopefully this is music to their ears that we'll be reminding everyone here. Summer is here, and so you're going to be venturing out on the road. As I shared, there's a lot of activity as part of this project, but quite frankly, there's construction activity on a number of the highways in San Bernardino County. And so as you venture out on the road, please be aware that your commute on the freeway or local streets might be different. Lanes might be narrowed or shifted. You might have new striping. And then please always slow down and obey the posted speed limits. Specifically on the I-10 project corridor, the speed limit has been reduced to 55 miles per hour, and that will be in effect throughout the completion of the project, and it is enforced by CHP. And also please watch out for workers and construction equipment, and just always use caution while driving. So that concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for joining us. As a quick reminder here, just please use the Q&A function if you have any questions, or if you're calling in from a landline, you can always email us to info@gosbcta.com. And so with that, Madison, have you seen any questions come through? Do we have any time to be able to address some of those topics or themes?
Hi, Sarah. Thanks so much. It looks like we had a couple of specific questions come through that our team has handled via the chat feature. And it doesn't look like we have any global questions at this time. Tim, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, just kind of piggyback on a couple of things that Sarah offered during the presentation, and thank everybody for attending. And Annette, I really thank you for attending every month and being a good partner with us out in the community. And we'll make sure that we track down those things that you're looking for related to your property. Nonetheless, there's a few things that I did want to kind of highlight. So you talked about lane, Sarah talked about lane and on and off ramp closures and the inconvenience that goes with that. One of the things that our project team, the construction team, has been challenged to do is to try to keep as many lanes as open as possible during the day. And so when we talk about those lane closures and ramp closures, a lot of that is at night. There are some daytime necessity at times, those 55-hour weekend related types of things that are necessary to do the work that's needed. But a lot of that's at night. And so that kind of piggybacks into another thing that I wanted to talk about, which was the safety component and you mentioned CHP. And so because things change at night, drivers that are either distracted or impaired, unfortunately, elevate that concern that's out in the field. And things happen out there. So if you're somebody that just as part of your normal commute is nighttime, or you're returning home from somewhere out with friends or family, recognize that those distracted drivers, those impaired drivers, are now entering into new environments and they're not paying attention and things happen. And so you just got to keep your guard up as you're driving through the corridor. That's not necessarily a construction issue. It's a combination of construction being present when drivers are being distracted and or impaired. So I continue to encourage you to know what's going on before you head out, so you know where the changes are. Appreciate that changes occur regularly within the construction period or process, but be aware for your safety and for everybody else's too. Sarah also talked about the 55-hour closures, and there's more to come. And a lot of that is so that we can rehabilitate the lanes, the concrete lanes within the freeway system. And we incorporated that as an additional item into this project, working with the California Department of Transportation to bring those improvements under one project scenario, instead of disrupting your world for 3 years to do what we're doing, and then come back and disrupt it again for 3 more years to do what's needed there. And so those lanes, you think about the I-10 freeway was part of the revolution of car travel in the United States in the mid-century part of last century. The transportation industry did a major rehabilitation of I-10 probably about 30 years ago. And here we are again having to do that. So if we can do that under this construction project scenario, we buy another few decades for you to not have to live through major maintenance on the I-10 freeway going forward. So those are all things that I think you should know. It's important that we try to streamline the impacts that we are forced to kind of put upon you to build these improvements. In the end, there's a lot more years of improvement versus the years of impact, and we hope that it all works to your benefit. So that's all I had today, Madison. I think Sarah's going to close out with some additional news regarding this webinar, and so I thank everybody for attending.
Yeah, I just want to share one last time. All of our contact information is here on our website. So take a quick screen grab if you think you might need it in the future. But we are here for you. As I shared, our webinars will be taking a little hiatus during the summer months, but we will be out at your community events. So please feel free to come by and say hello. And then we will be back in the fall, resuming the platform, the webinar platform as an extension of our typical outreach that we will be doing in the community as well. So thanks for joining us. Hope you learned a little bit, something new about the I-10 Express Lanes project, and we hope you have a great summer.